Why is it that every Muslim must pray towards Mecca? Why do you pray towards Mecca? Is God there? Is that where Allah lives? How old is Mecca?
Mecca is a very historical area, like another place.
Well, how old is it?
Because
How old is it? Give me a date.
More than 2,000 centuries.
How can you prove that? Can you show me one reference to Mecca 2,000 years ago? Where did Muhammad, where was he born? Okay, so we have destroyed Mecca historically. We've also destroyed Mecca internally by looking at Al-Bukhari. So both of them have a problem, do we not?
Yes, both of them. Even the Islamic tradition fails to tell us who built the Mecca and when it was built, and that place wasn't even exist. And historian tells us Mecca wasn't even exist in time of Muhammad.
Don't you tell me that God is one?
Why do you pray for Jesus?
Don't you tell me that you're not to pray to any idol? So why are you praying towards an idol? A building called the Kaaba. Why do you pray towards a building? Why do you pray towards an idol?
We pray to nothing.
And what is that black stone doing in that building? Why do you kiss that black stone? People, this is idolatry. This is exactly what God said not to do.
What's your mistake? What's your
That is why God is going to condemn you Muslims for what you're doing. Stop praying towards a building.
So what do you believe in?
Stop praying towards an idol.
What do you believe in?
Stop praying towards a black rock that you must kiss. And stop going around 7 times.
Why?
Because that's worship to another God.
No.
Can you pray in English?
You can pray in English.
You have to pray in Arabic.
Your intention.
No,
You have to pray in Arabic.
No.
Sir,
You have to face Arabia.
Just giving charity is prayer.
can you say the
Charity is prayer.
Can you say the
Your God has an Arab name. You are all idolaters.
No, we're not.
Every one of you are idolaters.
No, because it's
You're an
not
idolater.
That's why-
You're an idolater. This is an idol.
I
And
believe-
God condemns idolatry.
Yeah, the Quran says
There is only
that we
one
believe
God.
to one God.
There is only one God, and
There is only one God.
he deserves our worship versus our Muslim
No,
friends.
Hatti, when you pray, do you pray in one direction?
No,
Do
I
you
can.
pray towards a building?
No, I
Do you
can.
pray towards a black rock?
No,
Can you pray at any time?
I can pray at any time.
So let's talk about the Hajj. What is the reason for the Hajj? What is the reason that Muslims go all the way to Mecca to do this pilgrimage? Do you know, Hatti?
So one of the reasons Muslims go to Hajj, it is because it is one of the pillars of Islam. So for you to be identified as a Muslim, you need to travel to Hajj once a year.
Okay, let's get a Muslim.
in your
Are there any
lifetime.
Muslims here? Sir, are you a Muslim? Come forward, sir. I want to ask him questions. What's your name, sir?
He doesn't want to answer
He
your
doesn't want to
question.
answer. Are you a Muslim? Come forward. Let me talk to you. I can't find any Muslim that wants to talk. Okay, come forward, sir. What's your name? No, I don't know your name.
Yeah, you know it.
Well, tell me your name again.
I'm listening.
What's your name?
Amjad.
Amjad. Okay, Amjad. You do the Hajj, don't you? Have you done the Hajj?
I haven't done yet.
But you are going to do the Hajj. Why do you do the Hajj? What's the importance?
It's the 5 pillars of Islam.
It's the 5th pillar. So that's exactly what you said, Hatti.
Yeah.
It's the 5th pillar. Why must you go to Mecca? Why not just do it here?
Because Prophet Muhammad asked me to do it.
And why did the Prophet Muhammad say that you should go to Mecca?
Because God asked him to do it.
And why did God ask him to go to Mecca?
Okay, this is a ritual, Islamic ritual. Remembering especially the forefather of the prophets, which you believe as well, Ibrahim, peace be upon him.
So, because because Abraham went to Mecca, you must go to Mecca. Okay, now Hati, do you believe that Abraham ever went to Mecca?
No, I don't believe Ibrahim ever went to Mecca.
Why don't you believe that Abraham went to Mecca?
Because I read the account of Abraham from the Bible, from Genesis, and it gives me the cities and places Abraham went. He was called from Ur to Haran to Canaanites, and he traveled approximately 1,100 miles.
Okay, let's hold on. Back up a minute. So Abraham was called to leave Ur, where he lived.
Yes.
Ur is in what is today Iraq.
Iraq, yeah.
So hundreds of miles much further north. Way north of Mecca, right?
Yes.
God called him not to come to Mecca. God called him to go to Canaan.
Yeah.
Canaan, is that south or west of Ur?
West.
Straight west.
Yes.
About 1,000 miles he had to go, right?
Yes, he had to go to Haran.
He had to go to Haran.
To Haran,
What was
Turkey.
called Canaan. Today, it's Israel today.
Haran is in Turkey.
Turkey. So that's even further north.
Yeah.
Oh, in Turkey. Are you sure?
Yes.
That's
Haran is
much further north. So he never went south. He went actually northwest.
Yes, he started from Ur, went up to Haran, which is south of Turkey, and then from Haran he went to Canaanites.
To the Canaan land, Phoenicia, which would be Israel. So he was actually, if you're looking at a map, he went from Ur up to Turkey, then down the west, down the Mediterranean, down to Canaan.
No, from Ur to Haran.
No, from their perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Looking backwards.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Going west, northwest, up to Turkey.
Yeah.
So from their perspective,
Yeah.
and then back down the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
down to what? To Jerusalem, Canaan, that area.
Yeah.
Now, where is Mecca in relation to that?
Somewhere in here.
Way down here.
Yeah.
Way down here. 600 miles further south.
From the Petra, yeah.
And 1,000 miles further south from Haran.
Yeah.
So even further from Haran.
Yes.
Nowhere do we see any reference where Abraham ever went down to Mecca, right?
So Bible gives us the name of the places where Abraham stopped, and then we can chase them back, and then we can see, actually, yes, Bible is correct. They're from Ur to Haran to Canaan.
How many places do you find in the Bible where Abraham went, coming from Ur all the way up to? How many places?
From Genesis account, there is more than 17 places.
17 places where Abraham went.
Yes.
Do we know of every one of these places?
Yes, most of them.
These are all historical, are they not?
Yes.
These are not fictional places. These are not made up places. Every one of these places exists, do they not?
Yes, they are.
You can see on the map where these places are. Am I correct?
In Holy Quran, they mention there.
So can you see that the Quran has a problem here?
So Quran has a problem with that because, first of all, Quran doesn't give us the directions where Abraham stopped, and Quran doesn't give us the way.
Mandatory to explain every direction go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, they say clearly, Quran say Ibrahim arrived to Mecca.
Okay, so the problem is
So you want-
Abraham started traveling from age 70, and he traveled 1,100 miles. That is the minimum. So that makes him to travel approximately 11 miles per day. How come Abraham had a time to travel to Mecca?
You are validating him.
So it's easy. I mean,
It
What
would
is
have
it?
taken him years to do so.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Do we know of any reference to any place called Mecca at the time of Abraham?
No.
Is there any reference of a city called Mecca after Abraham?
No.
How about the time of David?
No.
David was living in 1000 BC. Abraham was living in 1900 BC. Is there any reference of Mecca in that time period?
No, we don't have any reference to
Oh,
Mecca.
there isn't?
No.
How about after David? How about the time of Jesus, 2,000 years ago?
So Jesus lived in the first century? No, we don't have any reference to Mecca in the first century
So
as
there's
well.
no reference to Mecca at the time of Abraham. There's no reference to Mecca at the time of David. There's no reference to Mecca Mecca at the time of Jesus. Hold on a minute. Is there any reference to Mecca during the time of Muhammad? Any historical reference to a city called Mecca during the time of Jesus? Sorry, during the time of Muhammad in 600 AD?
Answer will be no.
The answer is no. There is no reference to any place called Mecca at the 6th century, right?
Sir, that is our question.
Very good.
Yeah, very
so
good.
where was Muhammad born?
I'm coming to Ibrahim, you know. You tell me you are relying on a book regarding Ibrahim location, who is not telling you that Keturah either was his wife or a concubine.
I'm not even asking that question.
No, but I am asking
a much more basic question. Where is Mecca?
You are quoting a Bible.
You've got a problem.
So Mecca wasn't exist in the time of Abraham.
No.
Mecca is not exist in time of
Are we quoting the Bible now when we're looking for Mecca?
No.
We don't quote the Bible to find Mecca. There is no reference we already know in the Bible for Mecca. We're looking at historical evidence. Is there any historical document that refers to Mecca during the time of Abraham, during the time of David, during the time of Jesus, and during the time of Muhammad?
No.
You see what we're asking? This is why it's so damaging, and this is why he said, where was Muhammad born?
If there was no
A very good question. And what do we know? And where do we find the story about Muhammad's birth?
Who is not telling him
We find the story regarding birth of Muhammad, one of the earliest biographies of Muhammad, Ibn Ishaq.
So the earliest biography we have of Muhammad that refers to where he is born is written by Ibn Ishaq. When did Ibn Ishaq die? 765.
But we don't have anything.
We don't have his material.
Yes.
So who are we dependent on to know about who Muhammad was, where he lived, where he was born, where he died? Who do we go to?
Ibn Hisham,
Ibn Hisham.
who died 833.
Who died in 833. When did Muhammad die?
632 according to tradition.
632. How many years between the time Muhammad died and this biography, his biography was written down? How many years are there?
200.
200 years. It takes the Muslims 200 years to finally write down who Muhammad is, where he was born, and where he died.
Yeah.
And much, much more about Muhammad. So everything we know about Muhammad comes from 200 years after the fact. Does that bother you?
It does bother me, and it's supposed to bother Muslims as well.
Does it bother you? It's a lie, he says. All right, I want you now to provide.
Can you provide some evidence?
Earlier than Ibn Hisham for Muhammad's biography. Now hold on a minute. There was a famous scholar. Her name was Dr. Patricia Crowe.
Yeah.
Dr. Patricia Crowe, who was head of department here at the School of Oriental African Studies. She got her doctorate here at the School of African Studies. She went to Oxford, was head of department at Oxford University, asked this question in 1987, wrote a book about this very question. Have you noticed the Muslim had to leave? Because this is very damaging to many Muslims. Okay, I want you. Oh, he's right here. He's right here.
Other one left.
What's his name?
The other one left. This one,
All of them
Amjad.
had to leave.
Amjad is here.
So Amjad, listen to what I'm saying. In 1987, she asked this very important question. Is there any reference to the city of Mecca at all from the time of Muhammad or before? And what did she find?
Answer was no. There is no reference to city called Mecca in time of Muhammad.
At all?
At all.
Are you sure?
According to Patricia Crowe, yes.
What did she do? And where did she look to find the answer? First of all, who is Patricia Crowe? Patricia Crowe now reads and writes 15 languages, right? She reads and writes 15 archaic languages. That means she can go back to all the earliest documentary. In fact, she went to the earliest documents, did she not?
Yes, she went as early as she could find, and then she read them and she come to the conclusion, actually, yes, it's correct. There is no reference to Mecca in time of Muhammad.
She looked and she could read Akkadian, could she not?
Yes, she could.
She could read Hebrew, could she not? She could read Nabatean, could she not?
Yes.
She could read Arabic, could she not?
She could read lots
She
of
could read
languages.
Syriac, could she not?
Yes, she can.
These are the languages that were being spoken and that were being used in that part of the world. In the 1st century, the 2nd century, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th century, up until the 7th century.
Yeah.
She went through all of these documents. She went to the trading documents, did she not?
Yes.
Why is that in part, that she went to the trading documents?
Because if Mecca was very important city, then people would stop there as their trade place. But she couldn't find any trade city which has the name of Mecca.
The traders went back and forth between all the cities, and they traded their goods, and they bought goods and sold goods. And when they did that, they wrote down the cities that they went to. They wrote down the material that they bought. And in every case, they wrote down city after city after city that's in the western plateau of Arabia. So they talked about Aden in the south. They talked about Najran. They talked about Sana. They talked about Taif. They talked about Yathrib. They talked about Khaybar. They talked about Tabuk. They talked about Gaza. From Aden all the way to Gaza, they mentioned every one of the cities along the trade route.
But they never talked about Mecca.
What's missing?
Mecca.
Mecca is not in that list. If you look at a map today, you can find Aden, you can find Najran, you can find Sana, you can find Taif, you can find Yathrib. It's no longer called Yathrib, it's now called Medina. You can call Kaaba and Tabuk and Gaza. They still exist today, do they not?
Yes, they do.
And those cities all existed at the time of Muhammad, did they not?
Yes, they were.
What was the one city she could not find?
Mecca.
Mecca. She couldn't find any city called Mecca at all.
That was the city we are looking for.
That's the city we're looking for. Because that's the city that Abraham supposedly lived in 1900 BC.
Yeah.
In Surah 21, ayah 51 to 71, in your Quran, it says right there that Abraham was in Mecca.
Listen to me.
That means that that Mecca had to be existing in 1900 BC when Abraham was living, right?
Yes.
What about Psalm 84:3-6? Which city is that?
Psalm 80?
Chapter 80, verse 3 to 6. And a mention of a pilgrimage at the valley of Mecca.
Becca.
That's Mecca, not
Where is
Mecca.
Becca is in Lebanon, the Becca Valley, where the Hezbollah actually live today. You can go to Becca today. You can have tours of Becca today. But Becca is a good 1,500 miles further north. It's in Lebanon. You got the wrong city. Be careful what you use. Mecca is not Mecca. It has a complete different nomenclature.
Tell me. Why the
I've
people
got
were
black
going there
file
for
in my bag.
pilgrimage?
Do you mind giving that to me?
Getting back to this.
Yeah.
So we know that this is not Becca. Becca is well known. Becca we know today. Becca is 1,500 miles further north. That's all through our Bible, isn't it? Even today, there is a valley of Becca. You can go to the valley of
All
Becca.
the people were going there.
But we're looking for Mecca! Not Becca! We're looking for where all the Muslims must go to once in their lifetime.
Can you hold this? I'll show it from Numar.
Okay, another reference. The Greek historian Diodorus Siculus in 3 BC mentioned Mecca.
Did not mention. He mentioned Makoraba. And Makoraba is Kaaba. It's 3 different countries. The place of the Karib. Look where Makoraba is. It is 600 miles further north. It's 600 miles further north. Makoraba is not Mecca. You don't know your Greek.
The region of Arabia.
Get your Greek right.
Saying
So here we go. Do you have a map? It is. Can you see why he's having problems? We asked this question in 1987. 1987.
And it
That
is
is
the question.
27 years ago. She asked this question.
And we are still asking the same
And we're
question.
still asking this question today. And Muslims still cannot come up with the name of Mecca. Now let's continue on. So Mecca is not there during the time of Abraham.
So Mecca wasn't exist in time of Abraham. Mecca wasn't exist in time of David, and it wasn't exist in time of Jesus and Muhammad. So the question we would ask, if it wasn't exist, how come Abraham built the Kaaba?
Their house to be robbed and their wives to be raped. This is the Bible.
Did you find Mecca there?
The Bible.
Did you find Mecca?
Yes, in the Psalm.
Where is it in the Bible? Hey, tell me in the Bible where it is.
Islamic court. That's their wives.
You still can't find it, can he?
He says in the Psalms where Mecca is used, it's Mecca.
Okay, so now Hati, we can't find any reference to Mecca from any documentation. Patricia Crone has gone to the Nabatean documents.
Yeah.
She's gone to the Akkadian documents. She's gone to the Syriac documents. She's gone to the Arabic documents.
Yeah.
No reference to Mecca in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th century. So when does she finally find the first reference to Mecca? Do you remember the year?
700?
741.
Yeah.
In 741 AD, she finds the first reference to Mecca. He doesn't want to talk about this. He's already embarrassed. He doesn't want to know about this, does he? And can you see why he doesn't want to talk about it?
If I was
Because
a Muslim,
he's
I
not
wouldn't.
even asked this question, has he?
Sir, do you have an answer to our question?
Give me the answer to our question. No, he doesn't, so let's continue on. It's obvious he doesn't want to talk about this material. Because for Muslims, they've never dealt with this, have they?
They never asked those basic questions, Jay. They
How
never.
can you have Abraham in a city that never existed until the 8th century AD? There was no Mecca until 741.
Yes, but actually it goes worse.
It gets worse?
It gets worse.
Oh dear.
Because according to, again, Islamic tradition, Kaaba, which according to Islamic tradition Abraham built, is built 40 years before they built the masjid.
Okay, so you're saying, according to Al-Bukhari,
According to Sahih Bukhari,
Sahih Bukhari says that the Kaaba was built how many years
40 years
before
before the Masjid al-Haram.
the Masjid
Mosque al-Aqsa.
Al-Aqsa? So the Al-Aqsa is in Jerusalem.
Yes.
We can see the Al-Aqsa today.
Yeah.
It's still in Jerusalem.
Yes, it is still
And
there.
he's saying that the Masjid Al-Haram,
Yeah, which is the Kaaba,
which is the Kaaba,
is built 40 years
40 years
before they
Al-Aqsa.
built Al-Aqsa. Yeah.
When was the Al-Aqsa Mosque built? 709.
709.
709
Yeah.
in Jerusalem.
Yes.
It's on the same citadel as the Dome of the Rock.
Yes.
It's just in front of the Dome of the Rock,
Yeah.
is it not?
Yeah, that's
It's
correct.
built in 709.
Yeah.
The Dome of the Rock is built in 691. So if this is correct, that means the Masjid, the Kaaba,
Yeah.
was built 40 years before that time. That would be 99, 80, 79.
Yes.
That would be 79 or 69 AD. 69 AD.
Do you know what it says?
When did Muhammad die?
632.
632 AD. Yet this is built 30 years later.
Yes.
So 30 years later is when you finally find, 30 years later is when the Hajj or the Kaaba was built, according to Al-Bukhari. Because we know when Al-Aqsa was built.
So, Bukhari makes a mistake. Actually, Muhammad makes a mistake. Muhammad tells us between the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Kaaba, there is only 40 years. So, question is the mosque built in 19th century BC, or is the Kaaba built after the death of Muhammad?
It seems that it was built
After
the time of Muhammad. So where was he born? Okay, so we have destroyed Mecca historically. We've also destroyed Mecca internally by looking at Al-Bukhari. So both of them have a problem, do we not?
Yes, both of them. Even the Islamic tradition fails to tell us who built the Mecca and when it was built, and that place wasn't even exist. And historian tells us Mecca wasn't even
you've got both external and internal contradictions.
Yes.
We call these historical anachronisms.
Yes.
It looks like both the Quran and Muslims today are worshiping and are going to the wrong place.
They are. 2 million.
You are the most boring speech and
Please leave if I'm so boring. Please leave if I'm so boring.
So you are telling me
Seems to think so. So keep on doing.
you are Muslim?
I am Muslim and you are delivering stupid evidence.
Okay. Okay. Mecca is old. Yes.
That's his question.
So,
Fact, you know.
according to our Muslim friends, it is the fact that Mecca is old city.
Yeah.
Yes, Mecca
How
is
old is
old since 741.
How old is Mecca?
Mecca is very historical area, like another
Well, how old is it?
Because
How old is it? Give me a date.
more than 2,000 centuries. You know?
How can you prove that? Can you show me one reference to Mecca 2,000 years ago?
The Arabic tribe were very old.
He's jealous because the Muslims have Mecca.
Exactly.
He's jealous.
It is the history of
We are not jealous for people to go and worship idols.
So what ago? There was no Mecca at the time of Muhammad. Why should I go? Why not? Why should I follow a fraud? Why should I go? Is God in Mecca? Now let me ask you this. Why is it that every Muslim must pray towards Mecca? Why do you pray towards Mecca? Is God there? Is that where Allah lives?
No.
So why do you pray to a building? Why do you pray to a square building?
Why do you read my Bible?
I'm asking. We don't pray to any
That's a
building.
different question.
Why does every Muslim pray towards Mecca?
Because
Help me here, Muslims.
Because God says that.
And why did God say that?
Because He wants that.
He must be there, right? He must be where God lives.
No. He must.
But hold on a minute. Don't you tell me that God is one?
Why do you pray for Jesus?
Don't you tell me that you're not to pray to any idol? So why are you praying towards an idol? A building called the Kaaba.
God says in the Quran that we don't
Why do you pray towards a building? Why do you pray towards an idol?
We pray to nothing.
And what is that black stone doing in that building?
Listen, you're wrong. You're wrong. Because it
What is that black stone doing in that building?
says in the Quran that God, we don't pray to
And
nothing.
why do you kiss that black stone?
Just happens.
Doesn't matter.
People, this is idolatry. This is exactly what God said not to do.
What's your mistake? What's your
That is why God is going to condemn you, Muslim, for what you're doing. Stop praying towards a building.
So what do you believe?
Stop praying towards an idol.
What do you believe?
Stop praying towards a black rock that you must kiss. And stop going around 7 times.
Why?
Because that's worship to another God.
No.
That is not worship to God. God does not allow us to pray to idols. Am I correct, Hati?
Yes, that's correct.
We are not to pray to idols.
We are not playing to idols and we will be judged for that. And Muslims are telling us people shouldn't play the idols, but they are playing the idols.
All the idols are broken except one. The building itself.
No.
The building itself is an idol. And all of you are still praying towards it. 5 times a day.
So my house is an idol.
5 times a day. You pray towards that building.
Every building is an idol.
Once in your lifetime, you go to that
Every building
building.
is an idol, is it?
Why do you go around 7
Talking rubbish, my
times?
friend. You're talking rubbish.
Why do you go around 7 times? Why do you go around 7 times? Answer me.
Just answer the question. Just answer the
Hati, they
question.
don't have an answer.
Because God commands us.
They don't even know why they
Okay.
do it.
Because God commands us.
Because God said to pray towards that building.
Yeah.
It is God that tells you to go 7 times around. You are all idolaters.
No, we're not.
Every one of you are idolaters.
No, because it's
You're an
an idol.
idolater.
That's why-
You're an idolater. This is an idol.
I
And
believe
God
in one God.
condemns idolatry.
Yeah, the Quran says
There is only
that we
one
believe
God.
to one God.
There is only one God,
There is only one God.
and He deserves our worship versus our Muslim friends.
Hati, when you pray, do you pray in one direction?
No,
Do you pray towards a building?
No, I
Do you
can.
pray towards a black rock?
No.
Can you pray at any time?
I can pray at any time.
In
at
any
place.
direction?
Yes, I can.
Worship.
What does that mean about your... Stop touching touching me. Stop touching me. So hold on a minute. What does that mean about your God?
My God is so big, he doesn't fit in the place.
Every good God is everywhere.
Worship isn't just praying.
See, he's having a problem.
He's doing good deeds.
He's getting angry.
Worship.
I would get angry if I were you too.
Worship is being good to
Every
your
one of you
neighbors.
should be getting
Worship
angry.
is not just praying.
But don't get angry at me.
I'm not angry. I'm talking like
Don't
you
get
are.
angry at me.
I'm talking like you are.
Get angry at your
Worship, I'm
God.
talking like you are, my friend. I'm talking like you are. You're talking loud, so I have to talk loud as well.
Jesus says we can worship God.
It's not just praying. Worship is fasting.
He is everywhere.
Worship is giving charity.
It's Jesus right here.
It's giving charity.
It's God right here.
It's doing good.
Can you pray to God right now?
Yes, I can pray to God right now.
Can you pray to God anytime?
Worship
Yes, I
is not
can.
just praying.
Can you pray to God in any direction?
Charity.
Yes, I can.
Worship is doing
Because
everything.
your God is everywhere.
Yes, I am not a Muslim. I don't need specific times. I don't need specific place and directions to communicate with God.
You go to church.
No.
Now hold on a minute.
I go.
When you Muslims pray,
You practice that
can you pray in English?
How many gods you have, man? How many
Can you pray in English?
You can pray in English.
No. You have to pray in Arabic.
Your intention.
No,
You have to pray in Arabic.
No.
Sir,
You have to face Arabia.
Just giving charity is praying.
can you say
You have an Arab God.
Can you say the Fatiha?
Your God has an Arab name.
Just in your
And your
hand.
Quran is written only in Arabic.
Shaking your hand is praying. I'm doing a good deed. You understand?
No.
Islam.
No, he's changed that praying. He's not praying to me.
Worshiping is everything.
Now he's praying to me.
That's
Do not pray to
No, I
me.
pray to God. God will want to know you. You didn't separate you.
Oh, I love Jesus. Hati, doesn't Jesus say we can pray to him at any time?
We can pray
Not just 5 times a day.
Let me shake your hand. Look, I'm not praying to you. Look, I'm not praying
We
to
just
you.
stop it.
I'm just saying that
Would
it's a good
someone
deed.
take care of your Muslim?
I'm saying it's a good deed. I didn't say
No,
I'm praying
you're
to you.
angry. This
Yeah,
is
but
not-
don't lie.
You're
Don't
angry.
lie. Come, but don't lie.
I love you.
No, but you're lying.
I love you.
You said I was praying to you, but
What
what
are
are
you
you lying
going to
for?
pull me up?
No, I'm saying I'm shaking your hand.
You
It's a
made
good
it red,
deed.
sir.
That's what I
Getting
said.
angry.
Sir,
But don't
you
lie.
made his argument.
He will hit me pretty
You
soon.
didn't say I was praying to you. So
Calm
don't say
down,
something like-
calm down.
Don't lie.
Hard to hear
Don't
this.
lie. Don't lie. Don't lie.
Hard for you
Don't
Muslims.
lie. Don't lie.
I don't have to lie.
Don't lie, man.
My God says that we are not to pray to anybody except him.
Everybody.
We are not to pray to any direction because God is everywhere. We've got a big, big God. And what is his name?
Jesus!
What is his name?
Jesus!
What is his name?
Jesus!
Who is the King of Kings? Who is the Lord of Lords? Who is God in heaven? Who is God on earth? Who died on the cross? He said, Allah